My name is James Howlett. I'm the nephew of Larry Howlett. This is my uncle, this handsome gentleman right here, who I love very much. We have a situation going on with his healthcare sitters, Family First Choice. Anyone who is using this company, Family First Choice in Monroe, Louisiana, beware. It should be called Family No Choice. This family has been taking care of my uncle his entire life. My father specifically has been taking care of my uncle since 1980 when his father passed. This company went behind my dad's back and took his Social Security check. What they did was they had someone take my uncle to the Social Security office and sign the check over to them and have it mailed to them. They did this without consulting the family, without mentioning it to the family. The family was not aware until my father went to go and get the check to pay my uncle's bills. The problem with that is my father has a power of attorney that my uncle had made for him because he needed my father to take care of his affairs, which includes the finances. This is a general power of attorney. Now, the language in here allows my father to handle all of my uncle's business, all of it, medical, financial, everything, as if he was my uncle. There's no language in here that stops my uncle from acting on his own behalf legally. That's illegally. Ethically, my uncle is disabled. Now, he's with us. His mind is here. He's capable of knowing what he wants. He's capable of saying what he wants. The problem is my uncle is very non-confrontational, and that's part of the disability. His disability, if you sit with my uncle, it'll be a lot easier for you to understand what I'm talking about. He can engage in conversation with you. You can talk about, he's actually really smart. He knows a lot about a lot of things. So the confrontational part of this stuff is what my uncle doesn't do well. And I'm sorry, Unc, that all of this is going on, but my uncle is stressed out. I can see the stress on his face. And this is just a bad situation all the way around because they're taking advantage of a disabled person. My uncle is not a person that can do certain things that we all take for granted. And one of those things is defend himself in the face of confrontation. I said on the other video that, like, if my uncle wanted to just get up and go and watch a movie, he can't just go and catch the bus on his own and go to the movie theater, but he can watch the movie. He can tell you if he likes it. He can tell you if he enjoyed the movie or not. So there's just certain things that he can't do on his own, and one of those things is defend himself. What's going on now is a back and forth between what my uncle wants, because this company has come to my uncle and got him to sign over his check saying that it's in his best interest because they're going to pay his bills and everything. Like I said, my uncle is not slow at all. So if you come to my uncle and you say, Mr. Howlett, your rent isn't getting paid. Would you like us to make sure that your rent is getting paid? My uncle likes his apartment. He likes living on his own. Of course he wants his bills paid. That is a yes. He wants his bills paid. He don't care who paid. He don't care if my dad paid. He don't care if Family First Choice paid. He cares that his rent is paid and he gets to watch his westerns. So with that said, you can come to him and you can say that, and he's not going to think about all of the other things. They go, oh, maybe I should tell my brother about this. None of that happened. So they took my uncle, and I would like to stress that Family First Choice has been taking care of my uncle for some time. So what I'm telling you now about my uncle's inability to defend himself is Family First Choice knows this. It's not in question. We don't have a doctor to say that my uncle cannot make those type of decisions. Because honestly, truth be told, I think he can. My uncle can tell you what he wants if you leave him alone and you leave the choice up to him. But if you come and sit with him and persuade him a certain way, if you come and say, you know what, your brother's not taking care of your business, we could do that for you so that you don't lose your apartment. Would you like us to do that? And he's going to say yes. And then my dad can come, or I could come a minute later and say, Unc, these people are not looking out for your best interest. They liars and they cheaters, which is very true. And say, Unc, would you like the family to continue taking care of your affairs? He's going to say yes. Not because he doesn't know what he wants. He doesn't want to fight. He's going to tell you what he feels like you need to hear to get away from him. So today, investigators came to talk to my uncle. I spoke with the investigators on the phone. I wanted to be here so that I could be here when this was going on. They came before I got here. They talked to my uncle. And my uncle told them that he wanted things to go on however they are right now. That's because he doesn't want a confrontation. Any official person that comes that's not his family, he's going to see as Family First Choice. To him right now, the disagreement is between Family First Choice and the family. So when Family First Choice is coming around saying, you want us to do this, he's going to say yes. And he may even mean it at the time because he wants peace. He wants to watch his Western. He wants you to go away. But then when the family comes around and say, you want these people to handle your affairs or do you want the family to? He's going to say, I want the family to. And he's going to mean that at that moment because he's sitting there with his loved ones, people that he loves and he trusts. So my uncle is not in a position to make these decisions. And Family Choice knows that. They've been taking care of him for well over a year. When I walked in and Miss Olame told me that the people had been here already, I asked my uncle, I said, okay, Unc, so what happened? He said, I don't know. And well, what do you mean you don't know, Unc? What did they say? What did you say? And he said, I don't know. I really don't understand. So I was like, you don't understand? And then that's when I asked Olame. I was like, Olame, what happened? The Olame is the person that is sitting with my uncle today. And she said the people came and they asked him some questions. And even Olame herself said, I wish you was here. She said that. Because my uncle didn't understand. What Family First Choice is doing is foul. It's more than foul. It's criminal. What they're doing is taking advantage of a disabled senior person. Someone that could stand up for themselves and defend themselves, this would not be a problem. But with my uncle, and I love him to death, this is my uncle. You can get him to change his mind on who he wants over his care. If you ask him 50 times, he'll change his mind 25, depending on who's sitting in front of him. So now you got to look at the family and you got to look at Family First Choice, the sitting company, and say, what is their dog in the fight? What reason? Where's the disagreement? Where's the problem? Who has this man's best interest? My uncle. Who's going to look out for him? Who has his best interest in mind? And that's real easy to figure out. Because here's the thing. If Family First Choice was being honest and forthright, there would be no reason to sneak around like a thief in the night. There would be no reason to go behind the family's back and make accusations and don't allow them to defend themselves against these accusations. They went to Easter Seals, who sponsors my uncle's care, and told them all kind of stuff. And I think it's my understanding that they've been writing stuff down. He's missing this, he's missing that, and sending it to him. Now that shows intent. You're building a case to do what it is that you did. You're building a case to show Easter seals that there is a reason that you need to step in. Now, Lakeisha, the supervisor, is who has been talking to Easter seals. That's where they get all their information from. Lakeisha, that same supervisor, is who you see on the other video that I made in my uncle's apartment the other day when the police was here. She was talking 100 miles an hour when I walked through the door. But as soon as I walk through the door, she doesn't know anything. She's just the messenger. She has a boss. She's just following orders. But up until this point, she's the one that's telling everybody. The upper management of Family First Choice does not come in here and look after my uncle. The only way that they would know that there's a problem is if the workers related to Keisha, his supervisor, and she related up the chain. So when the police officer comes and now it's time to put it out on the table, bring it out to the light, how can you then say you don't know anything? If you cannot be honest and upright about the smallest of issues, how can we trust you on the major issues? This woman is on video saying exactly what I said she said. But if you talk to Easter Seals, she's the one who gave them all the information. If you talk to Family First Choice and you ask who in that upper management did they hear from that there was a problem with my uncle, it is Lakeisha. So what reason would she all of a sudden develop amnesia when the police is here? Because she's lying. And it's easy to call somebody out on a lie. When you bust it, when you look at the look on her face when I walked through the door, her eyes got so big because she was busted. Now you have to say those lies in the presence of the person that you're lying on. And that gives the person that you're lying on the opportunity to defend themselves. Now, I didn't know exactly what the lies were. I didn't know exactly what the accusations were. I know what it would take. I know what you would have to say to go and justify doing what you did. So I went through the whole gamut. Is he being physically abused? Nobody's saying that I know of. Is he not eating? I believe that's one of the things that they're saying is that he didn't have adequate food. But yet it was the end of the month and we hadn't had a chance to replenish the groceries and he had groceries. So did he just happen to have just a stroke of luck that he just happened to have groceries on the day when everything hit the fan and the police was here? And then, what about cleanliness? What about cleanliness? He has clean clothes. His apartment is clean. Family First Choice is paid to clean it. So what was so egregious? The police officer would let you know that they were talking before I walked in. The police officer looked right at the manager and said, but the rent. And the manager of the apartment said the rent is late every month. And so I said, is the rent ever not paid? And she said, no, it's always paid. See, the thing is, my father is 77 and he still works construction. So my father is out doing jobs and things like that. So he has time to take care of my uncle. He comes and sees him every single night. He gives him his diabetic shot and his medicine. But during the day, when his business hours here, my dad is out working himself. So it's like, hey, he'll get around to it. And they have a late fee. So my father not only pays the rent, he pays the late fee when he has to. But it's always paid. There's not 1 month that hasn't been paid. So every dime of the money that's supposed to go to my uncle is going to my uncle's care. So if there's no fraud, the family is not stealing the money and keeping it for themselves. If there's no abuse, he's not being physically or mentally abused in any way. There's no neglect. He's not being fed or not having clothing or anything like that. Then what's the problem? The problem is Lakeisha is saying exactly that. She just won't say it to the people that she would have to be responsible to. If you make a claim like that to a law enforcement agent, then you go on the record saying that's the case. And if you go on the record saying that's the case, the next question is, okay, Family First Choice, you say that there's not food. So did you come and sit with this man and leave him hungry for the night? Did you not feed him? Oh, no, well, we fed him. Well, okay, well, what did you feed him? Because that would be neglect on the part of your company. If you don't, if there's a problem, you need to come out and take it to the police or whatever. So where's your documentation? If you're writing stuff down, sending them to East and say, well, we went in there to make ham sandwiches and there was no mayonnaise. He needed mayonnaise. That don't mean there's not food in the kitchen. If you fed him, you cannot then go and say he doesn't have food. That's a lie by deception. And that's what they're doing. So the question is why? Why would they do this? Lakeisha, the supervisor of Family First Choice, and my father have not been seeing eye to eye over my uncle's care. When I came here, Miss Olame, who is here today, taking care of my uncle, she told me one time I came through the door and visit my uncle, and she was like, oh yeah, he needs some food. And so I went and I looked in the kitchen and everything. I saw plenty of food. I'm not even sure if I even told my father that day. But, excuse me, Miss Olame?
You know what? A lot of times, sometimes your uncle don't have breakfast food. A lot of times he don't have breakfast food. And your daddy tells me to write a note, a list of what we need. He'll take the list and don't get what we need. I want him to get what we need, not what he think we need. See, if you ain't in it, you don't know what we need.
Okay. Yeah. So now let me ask you this.
Yeah, what?
On those days, you said that there's days, multiple days, more than one, that my uncle doesn't have breakfast food. What do you feed him that morning?
Well, eggs, egg. Sometimes I do pancakes if I have pancake mix or something like that.
Okay, but now, Miss Olame, that's food. Miss Olame, that's breakfast. Eggs and pancakes is breakfast. Yeah. So if he doesn't have the breakfast you want him to have that morning.
That's not often. But that's not often.
So on days that he does not have food, period. Is there any days?
He never say he doesn't have food, period. He don't have breakfast food, what we need. And I said,
so who gets to decide what he needs?
I put a list down. That's all I can do.
All right, but you said on those days you give them eggs, you give them pancakes.
Sometimes.
On other times, what do you give them?
Whatever there. So
there's something there.
Yeah, some bread, a toast, or something like that.
Okay.
Yes,
so now,
juice.
This is the root of the problem. So, and that's perfect. I'm glad that happened that way. So now, what's happening is this. Lakeisha doesn't get along with my dad. So now, when I came down here and started seeing everything that's going on and talking with my father, I told my father, me and my wife were both looking for jobs. We just moved here from Wisconsin. I told him that my wife can go down to the company and apply, and she could work for my uncle during the week. She called, and Lakeisha never called her back. She left several messages on her answering machine. So they were getting ready to fire a girl that worked for Family First Choice. They was getting ready to fire that girl because they said that she, Miss Olame, who we just talked to, said that she wasn't cleaning, she wasn't doing what she was supposed to do. So they were getting ready to fire that girl. So my wife called to apply for that position and take care of my uncle. We could have a family member who we know and trust to be in here to take care of him, and that's not a problem. Lakeisha didn't want that. She never even called her back. They hired another girl. So once the other girl was hired, we left it alone. We figured, okay, the one girl was fired, they got somebody else in here. So now the girl that's in here now, that was 5 months ago. So now, about a month ago, it was getting to the point to where we're hearing the same thing. Like Miss Olame just said things aren't getting done, stuff's not being clean when she comes in on the weekend. I went and I relayed that to my dad. My dad told me these girls last about 5 or 6 months. They never stay long. So I told my dad, okay, well, I'll take care of my uncle myself. I'll put in an application. So I put in the application myself to take care of my uncle's care. When I put in the application myself, again, Lakeisha did not call me back. Now, I've met this woman on 2 different occasions before, well, 3 counting what happened in the apartment the day the police was there. But anyway, I put in the application, and she wasn't calling me back. So I was calling up there. I finally got a hold of her. What she told me, she said, no, she's not going to do it. She's not going to hire me to take care of my uncle. I asked her why. She told me that she wasn't going to put the girl that was sitting for my uncle out of a job, basically. And I told her, no, she works for your company. You could just reassign her to someone else and let me take care of my uncle. And she said, no, if you want to take care of somebody, I have a gentleman coming up who has Alzheimer's and some other stuff you can sit with. I told her, no, I only want to work exclusively to care for my uncle. That's it. So she said, I'm not going to do that. And that was the end of that conversation. I didn't call her back or anything. So for the past month, there's been an ongoing dispute between the family and Lakeisha about my uncle's care. And it's been during that month that she started going to Easter seals with these accusations and writing stuff down and all of this stuff to build the case to do what she did. And then they took my uncle, who is disabled. They took my disabled uncle down to the Social Security office and had him sign over his check to Family First Choice. Now, what she's doing is she's taking information from Lakeisha is a snake in the grass. She's evil. What she's doing is she's taking things like you just heard Miss Olamay say, and she's relaying that to Easter seals. But what she's not relaying to Easter seals is the part where she says, well, if there was no food, would you feed him? Aha, here we go. Now all of a sudden there's eggs, there's pancakes, that's breakfast.
That's not all the time. That's every
Have you ever not fed my uncle? Has he ever missed a meal under your care?
Now that I knows of it, I don't come but 2 days a week.
There it is. That's the bottom line. Not that she knows of, she only comes 2 days a week. But Lakeisha is using this. This is why I say the family is supposed to be there to defend my uncle and to defend ourselves against the accusations. Because these are the accusations that they're making, and they're not only false, they're fraudulent. And the reason they're fraudulent is because Lakeisha knows for a fact that they are not true. She's using that out of spite because her and my father doesn't get along, and we applied to work in my uncle's